You know what I've noticed in my 15 years of practice here in Vancouver? 3 foods sitting in your kitchen right now are quietly destroying your prostate, and you're probably eating at least one of them every single day. I'm Dr. Emily Carson, and before you click away thinking this is just another scare tactic, let me tell you something. I've sat across from hundreds of good men, hardworking fathers and grandfathers who looked me in the eye with a mix of worry and exhaustion, asking in quiet voices, "Doc, what's happening to me?" And here's the truth that most doctors won't tell you straight up. Your prostate problems aren't an inevitable consequence of getting older. No amount of medication, no natural supplement, not even Kegel exercises will give you the freedom and peace you're looking for if you don't address what's actually causing the inflammation in the first place. So today, I'm going to be completely clear with you. I'm going to tell you exactly which 3 everyday foods are triggering chronic inflammation in your prostate, why they're doing it, and most importantly, what you can replace them with so you can actually get your life back. Stick with me because I'm also going to answer the most common questions I get. Yes, we'll talk about yogurt, cheese pork, and even that bottle of tamsulosin sitting in your medicine cabinet. Let me start with something most men don't understand. When you're dealing with frequent trips to the washroom at night, weak stream, that feeling of never quite emptying your bladder completely, that's not just getting old, that's inflammation. Your prostate is reacting to something, and 9 times out of 10, it's reacting to what you're putting on your plate. The first big enemy, and I'm just going to say it, is milk and dairy products. Now, before you say, "But doc, I need calcium for my bones," hear me out. The problem with dairy isn't calcium. It's everything else that comes with it. Commercial dairy, especially here in Canada, is loaded with hormones. Even if the label says hormone-free, cows naturally produce hormones, and when you consume dairy, you're consuming those hormones too. Here's what happens. These hormones, particularly IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor, stimulate cell growth. That sounds good until you realize your prostate cells are growing too, and not in a healthy way. This growth contributes to benign prostatic hyperplasia. That's the medical term for an enlarged prostate, which compresses your urethra and creates all those frustrating symptoms you're dealing with. But it gets worse. The lactose in dairy triggers an inflammatory response in many men, especially as we get older and our ability to digest it properly decreases. This inflammation doesn't just stay in your gut. It affects your entire body, including your prostate. Now, I know what you're thinking because this is the question I get asked most. What about yogurt, Greek yogurt, cheese? And I'm going to give you the straight answer. Yes, they affect your prostate too. Greek yogurt is still dairy. It's processed dairy, and while it's better than regular yogurt in some ways, it still contains those hormones and can still trigger inflammation. As for cheese, all cheese, whether it's cheddar, mozzarella, or that fancy Quebecois cheese you picked up, they're all dairy products and should be minimized or eliminated if you're dealing with prostate issues. I had a patient, let's call him Michael from Burnaby, who came to see me about 2 years ago. He was 67, had been dealing with prostate problems for 5 years, and was taking tamsulosin every day. His quality of life was terrible. He couldn't sleep through the night, couldn't go on road trips with his wife, couldn't even sit through a Canucks game without missing half of it because he was in the washroom. I told him what I'm telling you now. Eliminate dairy for 30 days. Just 30 days. He looked at me like I was crazy. "Doc, no Tim Hortons coffee with cream, no cheese on my burgers." But he was desperate enough to try it. He switched to almond milk in his coffee, cut out the cheese, stopped having that bowl of ice cream every night. Within 2 weeks, he noticed a difference. Within a month, his nighttime bathroom trips dropped from 5 times a night to once, maybe twice. He said it was like getting his life back. So what do you replace dairy with? Plenty of options, and they're all available at any grocery store across Canada. Almond milk, oat milk, soy milk. These plant-based alternatives don't contain the hormones that trigger prostate growth. If you're worried about calcium, these alternatives are often fortified with even more calcium than regular milk. For yogurt, try coconut milk yogurt or almond milk yogurt. They take a bit of getting used to, but most of my patients tell me after a couple of weeks they actually prefer the taste. Now let's talk about the second enemy, red meat. And yes, before you ask, pork is considered red meat. I know, the other white meat and all that marketing. But nutritionally, And in terms of how it affects your body, pork is red meat. So when I say cut back on red meat, I'm talking about beef, pork, lamb, all of it. Here's the problem with red meat. It's high in saturated fats and arachidonic acid, both of which promote inflammation throughout your body. And just like with dairy, this inflammation doesn't discriminate. It affects your cardiovascular system, your joints, and yes, your prostate. Studies have shown that men who consume high amounts of red meat have significantly higher rates of prostate inflammation and even prostate cancer. But there's another issue that most people don't know about. When you cook red meat at high temperatures, grilling, barbecuing, that beautiful char on your steak, you create compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. These compounds are not just inflammatory, they're actually carcinogenic. So that weekend barbecue you're looking forward to, it might be doing more damage than you think. Now, I'm not saying you can never have red meat again, but if you're dealing with prostate issues, you need to drastically reduce it. Instead, focus on fish, especially fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and trout. These are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which actually reduce inflammation. If you're not a fish person, chicken and turkey are good alternatives. They're lower in saturated fat and don't trigger the same inflammatory response. And here's a tip for all you barbecue lovers out there. If you're going to grill, marinate your meat first in something acidic like lemon juice or vinegar, keep the temperature lower, and don't let it char. This reduces the formation of those harmful compounds I mentioned. The third enemy, and this one might surprise some of you, is refined sugar and processed carbohydrates. I'm talking about white bread, pastries, cookies, soft drinks, candy. All that stuff we know isn't great for us, but keep eating anyway. Here's what happens when you eat refined sugar. Your blood glucose spikes. Your body releases insulin to deal with it, and this creates an inflammatory cascade throughout your entire system. Chronic high insulin levels have been directly linked to prostate enlargement and inflammation. It's not just about diabetes or weight gain, it's about what that sugar is doing to every organ in your body, including your prostate. And let's be real here. Canadians love their Tim Hortons, their Timbits, their maple syrup. I get it, I really do. But if you're serious about improving your prostate health, you've got to cut way back on the refined sugars. Now, someone asked in the comments, where in the video do you explain how to replace refined sugars? That's a fair question, so let me answer it right now. You don't have to eliminate all sweetness from your life. Natural alternatives like stevia, raw honey in moderation, and monk fruit sweetener don't cause the same insulin spike. Fresh fruit is fine. The fiber in whole fruit slows down sugar absorption. But fruit juice, that's basically sugar water. Skip it. For bread and pasta, switch to whole grain alternatives. They're higher in fiber, they don't spike your blood sugar the same way, and they actually keep you feeling full longer. Steel-cut oats instead of instant oatmeal. Brown rice instead of white rice. These small changes make a massive difference. Let me tell you about another patient, James from Toronto, who came to see me last year. He was 72, had moderate prostate enlargement, and was considering surgery. His diet was basically a textbook example of everything I'm telling you to avoid. Bacon and eggs with white toast for breakfast, sandwich with processed meat and cheese for lunch, steak or pork chops for dinner, ice cream before bed. And he wondered why he couldn't sleep through the night. I sat him down and said, James, before you go under the knife, give me 90 days. Change your diet and let's see what happens. He was skeptical, but his wife was on board, and that made all the difference. She started cooking differently. Fish twice a week, chicken the other days, loads of vegetables, whole grains, plant-based milk. They cut out all the processed foods, all the dairy, all the excess sugar. After 30 days, he noticed he was sleeping a bit better. After 60 days, his stream was stronger. He felt like he was actually emptying his bladder. After 90 days, he went back to his urologist for a follow-up. And you know what? His prostate had actually decreased in size. Not by a huge amount, but enough that his doctor said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You might not need surgery after all. James is now 2 years into this lifestyle change, and he tells me he feels better at 74 than he did at 65. He goes on fishing trips with his buddies without worrying about finding a washroom every hour. He sleeps through the night. He and his wife can actually enjoy road trips again. Now, let me address some other questions I've been seeing. Someone asked about tomatoes, raw versus cooked. Great question. Cooked tomatoes are actually better for prostate health because cooking breaks down the cell walls and makes the lycopene more bioavailable. Lycopene is a powerful antioxidant that's been shown to support prostate health. So eat your tomatoes cooked. Tomato sauce, roasted tomatoes, tomato soup. These are all excellent choices. Another question about tamsulosin. If you're currently taking it, don't stop without talking to your doctor. I'm not telling you to throw away your medication. What I'm saying is that medication treats the symptoms, not the cause. By changing your diet, you're addressing the root cause of the inflammation. Over time, as your symptoms improve, you can work with your doctor to potentially reduce or eliminate the medication. But that's a decision you make together with your healthcare provider, not something you do on your own. So let me give you a practical action plan. If you're sitting there thinking, okay, doc, this all sounds great, but where do I even start? Here's what I tell my patients. Week 1, eliminate dairy, all of it. Switch to plant-based milk alternatives. Cut out cheese, yogurt, ice cream. Yes, it's going to feel weird at first. Stick with it. Week 2, reduce red meat by half. Instead of having it 5 times a week, have it twice at most. Fill in with fish, chicken, turkey, or plant-based proteins like beans and lentils. Week 3, tackle the sugar. Cut out soft drinks completely. Switch to whole grain bread and pasta. Reduce desserts to once or twice a week instead of every day. Week 4, maintain everything you've done and start adding more vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts are particularly good for prostate health. Aim for at least 5 servings of vegetables a day. By the end of 1 month, most men notice some improvement. By 3 months, the improvement is usually significant. By 6 months, many of my patients tell me they feel like a different person. Now I want to be realistic with you. This isn't a magic cure. Some of you might have prostate issues that are advanced enough that you'll need medical intervention regardless of diet. But even in those cases, improving your diet will help with recovery and long-term management. And for many of you, these changes alone might be enough to avoid surgery, reduce your medication, and get your quality of life back. The key is consistency. You can't do this for 2 weeks, see some improvement, and then go back to your old habits. This needs to be a lifestyle change. But here's the good news. After a couple of months, it won't feel like deprivation anymore. Your taste buds adapt. You'll actually start craving the healthier foods. That's what James told me. After a few months, he tried some of his old favorites and found they didn't even taste good anymore. His body had adjusted to the new way of eating. And listen, I know change is hard. I know it's easier to just take a pill and hope for the best. But I've seen too many men suffer unnecessarily because they won't address the root cause of their problems. You deserve better than that. You deserve to sleep through the night, to go on trips without anxiety, to feel confident and comfortable in your own body. So here's my challenge to you. Commit to 30 days. Just 30 days of following these guidelines. Mark it on your calendar. Tell your family what you're doing so they can support you, and give it an honest try. Track your symptoms. Write down how many times you're getting up at night, how strong your stream is, how you're feeling overall. At the end of 30 days, look back at those notes and see the difference. I genuinely believe that food is medicine. I've seen it work time and time again in my practice. Your body has an incredible ability to heal itself when you give it the right tools. And those tools start with what you put on your plate 3 times a day. If you found this information helpful, do me a favor. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. We don't talk enough about men's health issues, especially ones like this that can feel embarrassing. But there's no shame in taking care of yourself. There's no shame in wanting to improve your quality of life. Thank you for watching, and remember, you have more control over your health than you might think. Take that control back, 1 meal at a time. I'm Dr. Emily Carson, and I'll see you in the next video where I'll be talking about the specific supplements that actually work for prostate health. Take care of yourselves, eh?